Disclaimer: we are unqualified and unapologetic. We are not professionals, just married. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Let's do this.
Sessions and lessons unscripted. The mic crackles truth unrestricted. Voices raw like alleys at midnight. Spitting fire, no filter, just insight.
Hey, it's me, Joel, host of Sessions and Lessons Unscripted. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Here across from me, the lovely, intelligent, what else? See, there's just so many, I just get lost in it.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
It's Gloria Rosario,
Tis I.
the one and only.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
The world couldn't handle two of me,
No, absolutely not. Can't even handle the one.
right?
So, how are you, Gloria?
I'm good.
Tell the people, tell the good people how you are doing.
Listen, I can...
Wow, you can actually breathe. Yeah, Gloria's been having, I don't know, she's been having some kind of issue, like allergies mainly.
Oh, man, my allergies were really bad for 2 days. I still feel a little groggy today, but I feel like a million times better.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
Thought maybe you were just sick of me.
Oh. I could never get sick of you, dear.
Do you hear that, everyone? She'll never get sick of me.
Never.
Never, as she says it with a sarcastic look.
I want to choke him every so often.
That's not true. Not true at all. Vice versa.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, see, at least you admit it.
I told you I was drama when you married me, even before you married me, so don't act brand new.
You're absolutely wonderful.
I'm all right. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but yeah.
Well, I hope that everyone out there is doing well. Everything here is just, good. Can't complain.
As good as it's going to get for right now.
Yeah, until all our sponsors start pouring in and we can get a hot tub.
That's what you want to do?
No, not really.
Not pay the bills?
No, I want to pay. Well, actually, we paid off the one vehicle, which is nice.
Woo woo.
But then after that, we have to go buy another vehicle. So, yeah, joke's on you.
Womp womp.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to kind of get straight into this episode. Gloria and I were talking about the podcast, what we're doing and, whatever. And I know we've talked about it before, how we're going to get down to, like, the whole, basically, I guess, core of what this is all about.
Our origin story.
Yeah, our origin stories. Because, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we talk about, or random things we talk about, it kind of relates, I guess, right? You would say?
I would think so. I mean, maybe it'll give you guys a better understanding of where we're coming from, our point of views, and so, yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer than our normal episodes, but just bear with us. We will try to make it as entertaining as possible.
Yeah, we'll try not to bore you. And and once again, guys, we try to make these episodes and our podcast in general. We don't want it to be ultra serious, although we do talk about serious subjects and things like that. And please understand that I don't make light, or Gloria doesn't make light of any of these serious topics and stuff. We do find them to be serious. But everyone deals with things differently, right? So some people, fall into deep depression or anxiety. Some people just kind of roll with the punches. Some people, everyone's different. So me, myself, I would say that I kind of roll with the punches. And I mean, what other alternative really do you have?
Right.
And of course, along the way, you kind of develop, or I guess a good word to use is can be conditioned.
Yeah.
To react certain ways or think about things a certain way.
Behave a certain way.
Exactly.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that out there. And please, guys, if you have any kind of questions or comments about anything we talk about, or anything like that, please feel free. I know I won't speak for Gloria, but I know I'm an open book and I don't really, um, hold anything back. So, please do.
Right. And I mean, this wasn't planned to say or anything, but I just thought about it right now. Some of the subject matter that we will be covering these next two episodes is going to be kind of, I want to say, adultish.
Yeah, I
We're
would
gonna try
say
to keep it as
they're sensitive.
right. So we're gonna try to keep it as clean as possible, but just remember that these are our point of views, not our opinions don't reflect on
Well, these
anybody.
are just our experiences,
Right.
right?
Everybody's different. Like Joel said, people deal with different circumstances differently.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. We're not making fun of other people that have been through the same or similar situations at all.
Absolutely not.
So just keep that in mind.
All right, guys. So I guess I'll begin by just kind of giving you a little bit of I guess backstory or whatever.
Your origin story.
Right. So I will I'm speaking for myself. So for those of you, you probably already know, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, United States of America. I was born in 1975. Initially, my parents came here from Puerto Rico and they were going to live in New York. And I guess it didn't work out for them there. My father had family here in Chicago and they said, hey, why don't you guys come over here, check it out. If you like it, you can maybe stay here. And they did. And this was back in 73. I know some of you out there are like, good Lord, that's
That
a
seems
long time ago.
ancient.
Even now, like the older I get, when I tell people my birthday, it's like, good Lord,
It's like the 1900s, the early
right?
1900s.
Were you born in the 1900s? Like, yes, shut up. All right, anyways, so then, yeah, it didn't work out in New York. So my parents came here to Chicago and my dad ended up landing a pretty decent job. And then they decided to stay here. Now, when I lived with my parents when I was an adult later on in life, and I was kind of finding things out that I never knew. And if I remember correctly, I think my mom didn't really want kids.
Whoops.
So, well, I don't know. I guess I'm an oops baby, right? Who knows? But here I am, 1975. So I'd say for the most part, my childhood was, I guess, normal. But then I mean, I'm of Latino descent, so
Our
if
normal is different.
yeah, our normal's a little different. I mean, if you guys out there listening, if you know, you know. So my parents weren't really religious or anything from the beginning, and because I mean, I remember, you know, man, I remember stuff when I was even a little kid. I got, too bad I can't remember important stuff. So it's like, yeah, all the redundant stuff. But I remember life before religion and all of that kind of stuff. So pretty young, I know my parents were Catholic, and my dad, I remember the story. My dad said one time they were invited to someone's church, and my dad went to genuflect. And for those who don't know, that's when you go into church and you kneel before you sit down in the pew. As far as I know, it's pretty much a Catholic thing. Protestants don't really do it, um, and then he told me that someone ran up to him and it's like, "Oh no, no, no! You don't have to do that here." And then that kind of, I guess, got the ball rolling in that regard. My parents became born again Christians, and yeah, I mean that most of my life, my when I was home, I was we were a religious household, and they I would say my mother was more, as time went on too, the more the zealot, I guess, or the the I don't know, the enforcer, the religious enforcer, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So it became she was like the Bible police. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, that, and then don't get me wrong, my parents are incredible people. My mom is awesome. My mom has a really good heart. She's a very caring person, but she also has the hot-blooded Latino woman uh attitude.
Yeah.
And I know some of you guys out there know what I'm talking about. And then add that with this religious, you know, fanaticism, I guess.
Right.
And it was just like crazy. And then being a kid and getting into stupid stuff and trouble and all that,
Yeah.
it's just, whatever. And it's funny too, not funny, but I found out later that my mom had gone through some abuse as well. And that could have had a hand in the way she handled things.
Right. A lot of the times we forget that our parents were children and they were brought up a certain way, and it's like a cycle that continues, you know?
Yep.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 that's fine. But so yeah, then it kind of clicked and said, "Oh, okay, maybe that made sense." And then,
Right.
but I know, I mean, it was a typical childhood. I was not abused by my parents. I was not. Um, I mean, I guess nowadays it would look like that we were abused because I'm from the generation where you got your ass beat. If you did something wrong,
Right.
or you got snatched. Or what's the other word I'm looking for? Or you would get, I mean,
Basically disciplined.
yeah, and then I mean, now it's like you got to watch what you say to somebody. Before then, it was like they'll just tell you off, right?
Well, our generation grew up differently.
Right.
Our parents were physical with us, you know?
Hmm.
Um, Not the greatest of things, but it's also not, it didn't harm us in the long run, I
Yeah,
don't
they
think.
really live by spare the rod, spoil the child.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, yeah, we're not trying to spoil nobody. Get over here.
Right.
I told you no, we can't have the frosted flakes. Slap. Anyways, yeah, so but like I said, my parents are great, my mom's great. Uh I mean, super great people. And I'm not just saying that because they're my parents. They're real ones. They're genuinely good people.
I think our parents meant well.
Yeah, I mean,
They, like I said, they were raised a certain way and they try to keep us within that, you know, people looking in from the outside, it looks like, we're mistreated all the time, but it's really not.
yeah, you go to your white friend's house or they come over and they're like, "Oh my god,
Are you in trouble? I was
I'm
like,
never
no.
coming over here again."
No, mom was telling me not to mess with the rice.
Yeah. To overcook the beans. Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, people don't forget that your parents were also kids at some point.
Right. And they grew up with certain values and they would raise a certain way and they tried to raise us in, the
In
best way that
that
they
same
knew.
way, right?
Right.
But at the same time, too, you bring up a good point because then I mean, generations like I guess evolve and do things differently.
Yeah.
Like look at now. I mean, people do stuff way different than when we were kids.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just weird. It's cool that you said that because your parents were raised a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
They try to raise their kids that way that they were taught.
Right.
But then it's like, but then you have society and all this stuff around you that's evolving and changing.
Right. And because our cultures are way different
A
than,
cultural thing
you
too.
know, um, people here in the US, um, we're a lot more family oriented.
Mm.
the dad wears the pants, the mom follows, and then the kids fall in line, and that's it. There is no
Right.
questioning that.
With us, it was always wait till your dad gets home.
At least you had a dad.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, so my childhood was great. I mean, for the most part, my parents didn't abuse us or anything like that. I have one brother, speaking of, so it's just me and my brother. My brother is 4 years younger than I am. And again, once I was born, my mom did not want another kid.
Whoops.
And then 4 years later, here's my brother.
Double whoops.
Anyways, it was just us two and my mom and dad. And lived in various apartments in Chicago and stuff. And my dad was a very hardworking guy, very well liked. My dad was, man, it was amazing. He'd take me to work with him sometimes. My dad was a truck driver. And, man, just the way people would light up when they see my dad.
Yeah, there's something about your dad. He is. I like him a lot. He's very, very kind. He's got kind eyes, I think, is what it is.
Yeah, my dad's a great guy. And everyone loved my dad. And it's like, when I would go with him places and he'd introduce me and stuff like that, it was just like, man, these guys were like, you should see people just light up when they saw my dad. They
Yeah.
just loved him. And I always thought that was the coolest thing, right? Like, man, this is my dad. Like, everyone loves him so much.
Right.
And I really like that. And I kind of wanted to feel that all the time too. Like, man, I want to go around and I want everyone to love me like they love my dad.
Right.
So, anyways, my dad was a hardworking guy. Really, he provided for us. After a while, my mom started, well, like you kind of touched on it. Like, we were from the generation where it could just be dad working
Right.
and mom kind of just not work or maybe do a part-time.
Right.
So my mom ended up going back to school at one point. She became a teacher's aide. So she worked with kids and stuff like that. And then, so I had my truck driver dad and my teacher's aide mom. Then, like I said, typical childhood, kids being kids, whatever. And then around the age of 15, once I became a teenager, things started to change a little bit. I think I butted heads with my mother mainly,
Right.
most of the time. And of course, you're a teenager, and this happens to everybody, right, out there listening. You start getting, older, and you're getting a little more independent, and
You start to develop your own personality and your own idealisms,
right. So, and of course, being a stupid kid, right? Like, you think you know everything,
Right.
and you're learning all this stuff that your parents don't know, or, oh, they don't know what's going on, whatever. So, we would butt heads. I mean, and when I tell you we were church going people, we were church going people. It was like, almost every day going to church. It just seemed like we were there all the time. And I think my dad at one point became a deacon, and my mom got involved more in the church and stuff like that. And I don't know, sometimes I wonder too, like, they wanted to keep that, uh, I guess, persona
Yeah.
that we were like a perfect family.
Right.
When no families are perfect. People argue, people get in trouble, people do stupid things.
Yeah.
So around, let's see, when I was in high school, I started hanging out with a group of guys. And at the time I was getting into like uh, DJing and stuff like that. So I got together with a few guys. we formed, we kind of touched about this. We formed a hip hop group. We were like the Wu-Tang Clan before the Wu-Tang Clan. Uh, I use that very loosely, trust me. Couldn't wrap my way out of a wet paper bag.
Well, okay.
Although I wasn't a rapper, I was the DJ, so it's kind of different, but whatever. So, anyways, I started hanging out with this group in high school, and we started, one of the guys in the group started hanging out, or met this woman, and they would cut school and go hang out with them. And she used to work at this one little swap meet that we used to go to most of the time. It was a hangout spot, so she was there. And then we'd go to school, we'd cut out early or whatever, hang out over there with this woman. It was this woman with her friend. And like I said, I was 15 years old at the time. So I kept cutting school more. We just go hang out at the mall, stay hidden, because if the cops saw you, they'd, grab you. And so anyways, we started hanging out more and more. We would cut class. This woman lived near the mall we used to hang out at, which was like a super convenient spot to, I guess, hang out, hide out, or whatever during the day when we were supposed to be in school. My mom and dad are probably just hearing about this now, so
So your parents never caught on to you cutting class or anything?
never.
No? Okay.
I was that good. No, they never caught on that I was cut. Well, after the fact, yeah, because they had to figure out how the hell did all of this happen.
Right.
So they know it just didn't happen.
Right.
So, they never suspected it, because you figure I go to school like normal. They think I'm in school, which I did go to school. Don't get me wrong. I went to school, and then we were there for a little while, and then we'd like leave early or ditch
Right.
class or whatever. But no, they never found out. So, anyways, we would hang out at this lady's house. She was 27 at the time. Let me put that out there. So I was 15. We were a bunch of 14, 15-year-old guys. And she was 27, and her friend at the time, I think, was 40, 41, maybe. She was in her 40s.
Yeah.
And they both had kids. The 27-year-old woman was married with, at the time, 3 kids. And so, like I said, we hung out over there. And then we'd leave, go back home like nothing happened, right? Like we went to school. Yeah, we went to school. How was school? School was great. Yeah, but it was the mauling hanging out in this person's house while the hubby was at work. So her friend was, I think, going through a divorce at the time, and then I guess her marriage wasn't going very well, and she was on the verge of getting divorced as well.
Yeah.
So there was something going on there. And I know when I was going there was a little bit of murmurs and rumors about this lady's reputation, whatever. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it, right? So, whatever. So, fast forward a little bit, we went there, and slowly the crew started kind of falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So guys stopped going over there. So it would be like a group of 6 or 8 of us, then it was 6 of us and 4 of us, then eventually it was just a couple of us, and then it was just me going over there all the time.
So do you know why the other guys decided to stop hanging out?
It's funny you mentioned that, because sometimes I did wonder, like maybe their parents caught on, or they said, this is kind of lame, I don't want to do this anymore. That's kind of what my thinking was,
Okay.
that they found better things to do.
Right.
right? You're young. You're just discovering stuff and trying new stuff.
Right.
So I think that's what it was.
Okay.
And of course, keep in mind, guys, that I was butting heads with my mom at the time and all this stuff, having the religion, kind of, you know, shoved in your face all the time.
Right.
And I was rebelling, right? Just like any other kid. Most kids do this, right? So it was just kind of a recipe for disaster because I had an out, right? And, I don't got to put up with this anymore. So one day, I don't remember how it happened, but honestly, I don't remember how it happened, how it got found out what was going on, that I was hanging out over there. And I remember that day too, because we were arguing. And then I remember at one point I said, I think I said, I want you to leave me alone. And then I tore the curtains off the dining room windows, threw them to the ground. And then I took a chair and I threw the chair. And then I ran upstairs. And then I had this old, like, canvas laundry bag or something, threw all my stuff in it. And then I went and I think I called the woman up and said what was going on. And then I went over I loaded up my bag and then I left. That was the last time I ever stepped foot in that house.
Yeah.
So then I ended up moving in with this lady, the 27-year-old lady, her 40-something-year-old friend. And by this time, her marriage was already ending because the guy moved out. Her ex,
Who
the husband,
the lady that
the 27-year-old lady
Okay.
that was still married but going through the rocky relationship.
Okay.
So by this time, they were already splitting up. So he went to live, I don't know where, I think with a girlfriend or a friend or something.
Yeah.
So she ended up, splitting up with her husband. So it was just her and the other lady hanging out all the time. And then I moved in. So then, actually, I should probably rewind a little bit. Before that, I was over there at the house, and to be quite honest with you, I don't remember exactly how it went down. I do remember she started kind of talking. As time went on, she was starting to talk differently with me, right? Almost like, how do I even want to say it? I don't want to say romantically, but
She was flirting.
yeah, I would
Okay.
say so. And keep in mind, she's 27 and I'm 15, and I'm a 15-year-old male, right? Just there's all kinds of stuff going on in the brain.
Right.
And so anyways, it got to that point. Yes, it got to that point. Not, anything physical, but anyways, so it did go there. And then I left at 15, told her I was leaving. She's like, yeah, you could come here. Went there. And basically that's where it all started, right? Like, well, maybe not where it all started, but so I lived there, and at first it felt great, right? Because I'm on my own. I don't gotta listen to anyone. I could do whatever I want. I'm independent. I've got technically my own place.
Right.
I can come and go as I please. I don't have to go to school. At the time, I don't have to work, right? Because, the life was great. Like, man, I should have did this a while ago.
Right.
But I wasn't thinking clearly. I was not.
Obviously, you're only 15.
Exactly. So time goes on, and of course my parents are upset, understandably so, and they had every right to be. And you have this woman, right, grown woman with a kid, basically. I mean, 15-year-old, you're not an adult. You're still a child technically.
Right.
So, um, I remember uh, my I remember police coming to the house a few times,
Right.
and I remember one time they came, and my mom and dad were like on the street with them, and my mom's yelling in the background, and I laugh about it now, but I mean it wasn't funny at the time,
Right.
and they the cops basically told my mom and dad that they can't do anything because they got no proof of anything. He's just here.
That is just. Uh, I know I've told you privately before that just boggles my mind. That how is it possible for the police to go to a grown woman's house
Mhm.
and there's no proof, but it's illegal for you to.
Oh, what she was doing was way illegal. I mean,
But
that's like Chris Hansen coming out of the back room. like, do you know what you're doing here?
do you think that sets the standards for double standards? You know, because if it was a girl, a 15-year-old girl with a 27-year-old man with kids, do you think?
Oh, it is a double standard because, and you know what? People don't realize that women can be predators too.
Oh yeah, you see that all the time in the news
And
every couple of months with the
oh, now,
teachers.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
getting bad now. It's
right,
like almost every other month there's some other lady that's
right.
getting. And I think it happens more than people are willing to admit
Yeah,
or even care to kind of look into. And I will say this too, and I've heard guys talk about this, and you know, if it were like you said, if it was the other way around, it's disgusting, right? But then if it's like this 15-year-old male with like the cute teacher, oh man, look at him. You know what I mean? It's not like it's
it's
like not a big deal.
right. Whenever these stories come out and I read into them, because they always have a blurb about it somewhere.
Hmm.
And it's like a lot of the comments are like, "Oh, that was my dream when I was like 15 and I don't know, there has to be something within the adult's head or something that gives you like a red flag like maybe I shouldn't pursue this?
Yeah.
But
Well, come on, you're 27 years old. You can't find somebody your age and your
that's
age range.
and the police had no issues. I just
I couldn't tell you because I was a stupid kid. So it's like, yeah, they'd come to the door and it's like, where they're. I don't even remember what they said to be honest.
yeah.
But it was kind of like, well, we can't do nothing here. He's not doing anything wrong. He's just here.
Right, the fact that you're not living with your parents is enough for them to kind of intervene with it.
Meanwhile, like 20 minutes ago, there was something going on. You know what I'm saying, or
Yeah.
whatever. So, yeah. So, anyways, like I said, there were multiple times where they would come to. At this point, I kind of forgot to mention that uh, the woman that I was involved with, and I'm not trying not to say names or anything like that.
Right.
Um, she had moved out of her house, the house that we used to hang out at, and it was just her mom and her ex-husband at the old house, and then she moved in with that friend that I told you about.
The other lady that
Yeah,
was
so
going through the divorce.
yeah, so that's where I lived. I lived at the friend's house,
Oh, okay.
not at her house because she was already out of there.
Okay.
So because they had split up.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So, anyways, then they stopped calling the cops, and I just stopped talking to them altogether. And later on, I find out, my mom told me that the reason why I stopped doing that was because, or stopped pushing, uh, was she gave up, or she basically gave up.
Right.
She's like, I can't do anything. He made up his mind. As long as I know where he is and that he's safe. And she said, she told me later on that in retrospect, she probably should have forced her hand there and that it wasn't right for her to play along.
Right.
But because she loved me so much and didn't want to completely lose me, she just put her hands up and just said, okay, whatever.
Right.
Which it's not fair because I kind of put her in that position.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then she also told me that she stopped pursuing having her arrested or taken away or whatever because there was kids involved because she had kids from her previous marriage, her marriage, and she didn't want the kids to be orphaned or anything like that. So that's why she stopped pursuing it. Like,
Right.
so things got, I alienated my family for sure after that. And I barely spoke to them. And then I just continued life, right? Like at 15, I was living the life, whatever, on my own. Then I had to grow up, I guess, because now I have basically not a wife at the time, but um I'm responsible for her and her three kids,
Right.
and I ended up having to go get a real job. I had to go start working. So I was 18, working these factory slash warehouse jobs.
Yeah.
And instead of like, you know, doing other stuff being a kid. So eventually, without going into super detail, so I had to start working. I started making money. And then, of course, the money went to supporting.
So I'm sorry, this was you at 18?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was working a quote unquote real job, and I would bring home the money and I was supporting these people now. At the time, she was working, but it started becoming less and less.
Yeah.
And then I became the breadwinner, basically.
Right.
And then, honestly, too, after after she lost that job or quit that job or whatever, she never worked again.
Okay.
So it was just me.
So basically, she was exploiting you financially without you realizing.
Yes, I
Okay.
would say so. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So, anyways, then came time to, and sorry guys, I'm old, so I'm trying to, I'm trying to remember stuff and whatever, and not go into super detail because I don't want to name names or anything like that. So her three children, their father did not want anything to do with them anymore. So he basically, I think, emancipated them, and my, who became my wife eventually, she wanted me to adopt her kids. So, which is, I don't know, but like, I don't know why, but whatever. So I remember we had to go to court and everything, and the real dad got emancipated and stuff. And then I guess they put my name on all the stuff. It was a whole legal thing. And then I remember going to court. I think I was 19, 20 at the time. I don't remember.
Yeah.
The judge asking the three little kids, or they were kids at the time, uh, do you want this guy to be your dad or whatever? And the three kids really liked me, right? So, because I'd play with them, and think about it, I'm a kid too.
You're all around the same
Yeah.
age. Yeah.
So they said yes or whatever. The courts made it happen. And, in retrospect, it's like did no one bat an eye? Like, it's like they
Well,
see this age difference and
right, but at the same time, you're 18 years old legally.
considered an
You're
adult.
considered an adult and you're allowed to make your own decisions. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why nobody batted an eye. But
Which reminds me too, during our time together, we would go to she'd meet people or have friends or whatever, and like, oh yeah, we'll come over for dinner or anything like that, right? And I'm sure when you see me show up, they're like, man, he looks kind of young. You know what I mean? No one said anything.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't blame people, but whatever. So, anyways, then I had ended up adopting her children, and then so worked whatever, just did whatever like a normal guy does, a grown up guy, and then um, there was one time where I forgot what I was doing. I was looking for something in her purse or something like that. I don't remember. And then I found this note from a coworker of hers or something like that. It was like a love letter or love note or something. And obviously I got upset because it's like, what is this? So she would swear up and down she didn't do anything, and that this guy was just being like a stalker and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, she did hang out with the guy all the time, and then they were co-workers, right? So they were always together. And at the time, I didn't put two and two together, but whatever. I was very naive and didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So then that was the end of that, and then I think soon after that, she became pregnant, and then so now she's with child, and then we had all of that going on. And then I remember that when the baby was born, I had called my parents that I barely spoke to. And I know my mom wasn't happy about it at all. And it was very awkward. And I've, even now thinking about it, it was just the feeling was so bad because here's this kind of happy moment, right? But it's like so messed up. So, and I remember too, I'd have to go to these classes and stuff. What are they? The Le
Maz
Mans?
classes, yeah.
And you got these grown ass men in there, and then you got this. Who's this? Like, is this her nephew or is what? Who is this?
Right.
And I'm the dad. But so anyways, fast forward a little bit more. Uh, I just kept going to work and supporting, and I was the only breadwinner. And again, the relationship with my parents was really non-existent, and so that's how I live my life, right? This I was just now it's already it's a thing now, right?
Right.
We're a family. Dad going to work, bringing home the paycheck. And meanwhile, I would say that I was developing some of my issues already from my childhood, or I guess lack thereof. And I would say that, all of that other stuff was just like fuel on the fire. And then there was awkward times where I tried to make it work. Like I said, my parents just accepted it because that's the position their boy put them in,
Right.
and they wanted me still in the family. They still wanted to see me. They still loved me, so they just played along. So they would come over, or we would go over to their place, and it was awkward because my parents, like I said, they're great people and accepting people and like good hearts and stuff, but just consider the circumstances.
Right.
You're kind of, it's okay but not okay. It'd be okay if this was normal, but this isn't a normal relationship.
No.
So that was very up and down. There were times we would, talk and stuff, then super long periods of time where we didn't, more times than not. So then, you know, we lived together, whatever, and then um, I'll fast forward a little bit more. I mean, you figure, this is a long
Right.
thing. So at one point, I don't know what happened, but she started to become a little more distant. She was more, uh, I don't even know how to describe it, but something was going on. So at one point, and this is like years and years later, she gave me the whole "I need space" speech, but she was already acting kind of sus, right? So I don't, at the time, I'm like, maybe she's getting sick of me now, maybe whatever. So,
You probably got a little too old for her. Oh, that was
wow,
wrong.
that was
That was
horrible.
wrong. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
Go on.
No, honestly, I mean, let's call it what it is. She was a predator, and uh, and now that I'm thinking about it, and I don't know if the kids are listening, but I don't want to badmouth anybody. I don't want to villainize anyone. I'm not trying to be hateful or do anything of that sort, but you have to be truthful, take accountability, right?
Yeah.
Call a spade a spade, call it what it is.
Right.
And you know what? I was a victim, right? But I'm not the only victim. You know,
Yeah.
you we're like the casualties of war, right? So like because one person's mistake, other people suffered for it.
Right.
So and you got to think about it. I was a kid. I basically grew up with her kids
Yeah.
and at the same time trying to support them.
Yeah.
So,
That's a lot to kind of take in.
so again, I'm not trying to badmouth or villainize anyone or try to turn people against people or anything like that. I'm just stating fact. And I feel bad and my heart goes out because we were all victims of this, not
Right.
only me.
Right.
So, um, yeah, we started to drift apart. I noticed this was when online got really big, right? Whatever. And then she would stay in the kitchen, not really hang out with me ever anymore. She'd be distant, all of that. Then she gave me the "I need space" speech, which got even more awkward because I had nowhere to go, right? Because I didn't really speak to my parents. I didn't have any family here that I could really go to. And so I was basically living on my couch.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't talk to me. She would just kind of ignore me all the time and all this. And then um, I knew there was a guy she would, like an online, quote unquote, online friend that she would talk to all the time, which I can touch on that later. But anyway, so then I don't remember how I mentioned it. I think because, of course, I was in passing, I would speak to my parents, my mom, whatever. And I had mentioned what was going on, that, I'm, I think this is the end of it,
Right.
which I'm pretty sure my mom was like, thank God,
Right.
like finally. But it's already was past, what, 20 years or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess better late than never,
Never.
right?
Right.
So, my mom and dad said, you know what? Come live with us. We'll take you in. We'll help you. You can stay with us as long as you need to. And at the time, my parents were retired and they had retired back to Puerto Rico. But they flew me. They paid for my flight. When I got there, I mean, it was truly, truly, truly like the prodigal son in the Bible. It was like the son that was lost and he's back home. And yeah, I truly appreciate my parents, man. They didn't deserve what they got, and I'm truly sorry about that. And I don't know.
But here's my thing, and this is just not a reflection of you or on your parents or anything, but
Mm.
when there's something about, and I've said this before in the past, that there's something magical about the age 15.
Yeah, you did mention that.
I
Yep.
did, because at 15, you're not a grown up, but you're not a kid anymore. You're in, like in
You're
between.
trying to figure stuff out.
Right. And there's so many things going on with you, like mentally, you're trying to understand your body. Your body's doing things that you're not used to.
Mm,
Hormones are rampant, emotions are high.
mm,
And something about that age of 15, it just kind of,
that is true.
for some reason, is just like the magic rebellion number.
Mm,
And I say that only because I experienced that at 15 too,
right.
So, yeah.
So yeah, my parents. Kind of a funny story on the when I'm thinking about it now. So I ended up moving with them in Puerto Rico at their house in Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
and I remember, man, my parents had everything laid out. They had, I mean, it was wow. Like it was amazing. My parents are amazing, and I remember one time the one of the rooms, and my mom had pictures of me everywhere, and like even the baby picture she had out. And I remember looking at one of these pictures, and I went into this room, and there was a picture of me on this nightstand, right? A little baby picture. And I jokingly said, "Man, that baby had a big head." And my dad was behind me, and I didn't know at the time. So, because he was kind of following me around while I was kind of touring the house.
Yeah.
So I look in the room, I see my picture on the thing, and I'm like, man, that baby had a big head. And then my dad he was so like kind of soft spoken or whatever. You still got a big head. I love that guy, man. He's so awesome. So anyway, I lived with them and trying to figure life out. And I was at the time I was very overweight, and I was angry. I was angry, like my whole life wasted, right? And I have nothing to show for it. And man, I was pissed, I'm telling you. So I my mom, I gotta credit her a lot too, was helping me get my stuff together, get my mind right, get my physical well-being in check. So my dad at the time, there was this local school that my dad would go to every morning because they had this thing, and all the townspeople would go there and walk this track, right? And people would socialize and walk and get their exercise in, and my dad would go there every morning. So my mom's like, why don't you go with your father and go, walk every morning, which I did. And I started dieting, walking, being more active. Um, and I was starting to feel good. And then I had the idea of blogging and journaling. So I started the blog that's now known as Sessions and Lessons Unscripted. Back then it was called The Ballad of Joey Flowers, and that's what it went by. And it was just me journaling and writing about what's going on, my experiences, how I'm feeling, everything like that. And I did that religiously. Every day I was on there writing and typing my thoughts and things like that. So I was getting a following. I was people would respond to me, engage. They would email. They'd send messages. So I was resonating with people, and I continued that, like I said, religiously, and I came up with a routine. Ev Life was looking way better.
Right.
So I had my routine in the morning, my daily routine, my evening routine, and everything was by the book. Everything, I followed it to a T every day, and it was paying off. So, yeah, so there, I was walking every day, getting in shape. People were noticing. My attitude was changing, and I was on my way to forget that old life and basically start over. So, and then of course, I'm when I get back to the States, I'm trying to figure out life as a bachelor, right? Like go back home. I'd have to get a place to stay. I'm not gonna worry about relationships. I don't care for a while, just kind of planning my new life. And there was a couple ideas where I wouldn't even move back to Chicago. I would maybe move to, Portland or another state, just start over. So eventually, what happened was I got an email, and first of all, my parents, they didn't have, excuse me, they didn't have the money really to fly me back and whatever. So I had to kind of save up to get a ticket to go back. But at the same time, I wasn't in a hurry to go back, right? Here I am on the island of Puerto Rico, where most people would be like, man, I wish I lived there.
Right.
Yeah, you don't. No, it's a great island, but um, so I don't remember what the amount of money was. I think it was like, I don't know, 700 and something dollars. I don't remember, for a ticket back home. And it was almost a year at this point. So, um, my wife, well, I'm widowed, but we'll get to that. Um, so she emailed me out of the blue and said, "Hey, one of your old jobs sent you this, you know, this check." And I'm like, okay, like, first of all, why are you, I mean, I don't know why you're opening anything. And she said she had opened it because, of course, I'm not around. She wanted to see what it was. And it was a check. And I kid you not, this check was almost to the penny what I needed to go back.
Mm.
So, of course, I said, yeah, send it to me or whatever. And I know my mom, and I can't speak for her, obviously, but I announced that I was going to go back home. Then I announced that I was going to go back to her. And that, I know she wasn't happy about it. I just know she wasn't. She didn't. The only thing she said to me was, "Well, I hope that you're happy and that you're okay." And I mean, she really couldn't say anything, right? I'm an adult at this point. I can do whatever I want. But so I decided we reconcile. I go back home. So, anyways, I fly back to Chicago. Things were, better than they ever were. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, maybe I'm thinking to myself in the back of my head, maybe this is what we needed.
Right.
Now I can have a normal life. I'm reconciled with my parents, and things are good, and I'm back here, and all this familiar ground, and everything seemed great, right?
Right.
So, and I had lost a ton of weight. I was maybe more than half less than I was, the size wise. I was like, it was ridiculous of the night and day. So everyone that saw me when I came back was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that's you," that kind of deal. Because I really focused on it, right? I was motivated, I was focused, even though the motivation was out of anger,
Right.
you know. And I guess I just take it though however you can get it, right? So I head back to Chicago. Life seemed good, better than before. And of course, I mean, I didn't have a job or anything at the time or whatever. And then I ended up getting a job. Actually, it might have even been an old job. They rehired me, if I remembered right. They found out I was back in town, and they're like, "Oh yeah, if you want to come back." So, anyways, life as usual, right? Go back to work, make money, whatever. And then soon after, she got very sick. My my wife at the time, she got very, very sick. And I remember that day she locked herself in the bathroom and had the water running. She passed out on the commode, I think. And her daughter at the time found her. She was unresponsive. They had to call the ambulance. And then she got taken to the ER. And then she uh she was in intensive care for a while. Turned out she got a skin eating virus on her leg or something. I think she went into diabetic shock or coma. It was a mess. I mean, she was in intensive care for, I think it was a month, maybe almost 2 months. And it was me daily in the hospital, sleeping on benches, the floor, the chair in the hospital room. It was a nightmare. And doctors constantly coming in and out, and just, it was very stressful. And I was still losing weight, not because I was trying to stay losing weight, because I was so stressed.
Right.
So she had to have couple surgeries. They had to remove a, it's going to sound kind of graphic and gross. I'm trying not to be. They had to remove basically a chunk of her leg and to get all that stuff out. And they basically, and there was this one, they sent a therapist to talk to me at one point, and because it was so bad. And I remember the therapist said, "Man, you look exhausted. Like don't look good." And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And then she was telling me that, to put it in simplest terms, it was like a tornado went off inside her body, and all her systems just freaked out. And she almost didn't make it. She almost passed away, but then she made it through. And then, of course, I'm grateful and thankful and stuff. And I think she had to go to a nursing home for a little while for rehab and all that stuff and for aftercare. So, anyways, eventually she got to come home, and I took care of her. She had two daughters and a son. So the one daughter basically stepped in to be kind of like an at-home nurse, helped her dress her leg and make sure she was taken care of or whatever. And then so everything was fine. And then I noticed, well, now she had a new lifestyle, right? She ended up being diabetic, had to take insulin, watch her diet, what she said she wanted to do anyway. And then she ended up losing weight, but I noticed that around her midsection wasn't really doing anything. But I didn't think much of it at the time, right? So life went on, whatever. And then again, one day she sat on the bed and she said she had trouble moving. Her daughter found her again. And then it ended up where then she's crying and everything. And then I noticed that one of her legs were really swollen. We rushed her to the ER. And then I think I had went to work, or I went home. I don't remember. And her daughter calls me and says they said that they found a black mass in her abdomen and they want to check it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So then she later on, she called me again because she was trying to keep me updated. And they said that they think that it could be cancer, but they don't know yet. So now, anyway, she was in the hospital, whatever. They did their testing, and it did turn out to be cancer. So they tested to see the severity of it, and it was stage 4.
Mm.
So it was already spreading to her other organs. Then once you're stage 4, that's it. There's really nothing the doctors can do for it. So I think they attempted. Well, no, I don't think they did any surgeries on her at the time. But anyway, she was stuck in the hospital for a while, and they were trying to help her as much as they could, but they're like, it's so bad, like they
Right.
and I think they did take her in for some kind of procedure. I don't remember what it was, but so she was rotting from the inside out.
Mm.
So they couldn't do anything. And a little side note, and anyone out there listening to me right now can call my BS out on it. And I this is the God's honest truth, and don't ask me how, when, why, whatever. But before this happened, I dreamt that I saw her in a hospital, like in the surgery room. The tiles were like kind of that weird pale green, and I saw her on a gurney. The operating room looked dingy, dirty, dingy, and she was on the gurney looking dirty and all messed up. And then she ended up in the hospital with the cancer. So I like kind of dreamt it before it happened. So anyways, that's a little side thing. But so anyways, she, at one point they just had to come tell me, look, we try to do what we can, but it doesn't look good. She's not going to last much longer. So of course I'm kind of crushed and devastated, and I have like a whirlwind of feelings in my head. And but I was still loyal. I was still you know, I don't know, maybe that's just how I'm wired or whatever, but I wasn't giving up in that regard. So anyways, I remember her mood was getting worse and worse. Like she was her mood was almost changing.
Right.
Like
Illness will do that to you, though.
yeah, you figure she was dying from cancer, so it was like she was a different person. So I remember the last night I saw her, alive, I guess, or responsive. 2 nurses came into the room. They were changing her bedding or something like that. And then the one nurse asked her if she was on her cycle or whatever, because she was bleeding and bleeding heavily. And she's like, I don't think so. And then the look on the nurse's face kind of told me it all, right? So she was bleeding, and then whatever, they cleaned her up, changed her, or whatever. And then we said goodbye, and then we'll see you tomorrow. And then that's when I went home and I got the phone call. It was, I don't know, 2 a.m. And they're like, you got to come down here. We had to rush her back downstairs to the ICU. And so I went there, and she was in the ICU with the tubes and everything again, and on life support. So then the doctor came in eventually and had to talk with me, said she's too far gone. I mean, you can have us continue this, but it's only going to do more harm than good. She's not going to be responsive. Her body's it's gone. So he asked me to make a choice right then and there, whether I wanted to pull the plug or let them keep trying. But at this point, it was a lost cause.
Right.
So I remember putting my head down. I shook my head and I said, yeah, go ahead and stop. And then he kind of put his hand on my shoulder and kind of gave it a squeeze. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And, I think he said like, this was the right decision. This was the right thing to do. She'll be at peace and she'll pass naturally.
Right.
So, and then it was weird because everything kind of turned into slow motion, and the doctor turned around, he left. They started taking all the stuff out of her, and the IVs and the tubes, and all the beeping started to, go away. And then I remember going up to her, and I didn't pick her up, but I held her in my arms, and I was upset. I was crying, right? I was losing my mind, and I was just bawling. And then I just remember the sensation of her body getting heavy.
Right.
Excuse me. So I'm holding her. She's passed in my arms, and her body just got heavy. And I put her down, and then of course the nurses, and they look at the clock, they call it the time of death, they put the sheet on her, and then they had us, at that point everybody was down there, so they had us leave the room because they had to do whatever they had to do. And then so then we had to sign papers and stuff like that and get the heck out of there. So then that was it. Then there was just a matter of making arrangements and moving on from there. So then, like I said, I'm not going into super detail in this episode, and things will come up. And if anyone has questions that pop up, feel free. But then that was it. I mean, after that, I went through the whole grieving process. I went through all the soul searching, I guess. I went through all that stuff where I thought back at all this time where I quote unquote wasted, right? Because I had my childhood basically robbed from me, and I did all this stuff, and this is how it ends, right? And then, so I went through a bunch of stuff mentally and physically, and I started binge eating again and like not caring, and
So, at this point, how long had you guys been married for?
we were together, married. I think it was like 20 something years.
Wow, that's a long time.
So anyways, so then I became, of course, a widow, and I was alone for about 3 years, and I was swearing, I swore I'd never get married again, and blah blah blah, and here we go. I'm glorious across from me.
Dun dun dun.
Joke's on you. No, but Yeah, and then a lot of you guys know that story. So I was alone for 3 years, and then I wanted to hang out with someone. And then that's kind of where Gloria came in. We met online, and that story people have heard before. We can always get back into it later. But, anyways, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff still, even now. And I think, like I said, I probably left out a bunch of details. But like I said, I'm an open book. If anybody got questions about anything, feel free. So, yeah, I mean, I think that kind of gives you an idea. You think, Gloria?
I think so.
Kind of where I'm coming from. And, yeah, so like I said, we can elaborate on stuff later on, but that's pretty much the basics. And, I want to thank you guys for listening. I know this episode is a little bit longer than usual. It could be way longer, trust me, but I don't want to put you guys to sleep. Yeah, so I really appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate Gloria too. It was, I mean, really Gloria's idea, which I thought it was a good idea because that's the whole point, right? So, yeah, don't forget to visit the website at sessionsandlessonsunscripted.com. And there you can actually read a lot of the old blog posts and stuff from back in the day. So you can kind of see where I'm coming from, in addition to all the new stuff from the podcast and whatnot. So, sessionsandlessonsunscripted.com. If you want to drop us an email, it's sessionsandlessonsmail@gmail.com. Oh, I need water. Hold on. Whoa, that's a lot of talking.
Ugh.
And then don't forget the socials, guys, on TikTok and all the, Instagram and all that stuff. We're not hard to find. So, yeah, thanks again, guys, for listening. And I'm sorry if I left out chunks of the story or anything. I mean, it's a lot to go through. But you got the basics anyway. And coming up, we're going to have Gloria tell her story too, so you guys can get to know where she's coming from. Looking forward to that. You have anything to add?
No, not at all. Not today.
I got her speechless today.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Please spread the word. Appreciate you all. Love you all. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.